Welcome back to Black Hat 2025. I'm Jackie McGuire, practice lead, principal analyst, best security host at theCUBE. And I am joined by one of my favorite guests. I'm so excited. Mike Nichols, VP of Product Management at Elastic. Welcome back.
Thanks for having me back. I had a great time last time. I'm glad we get to do it again.
Yeah, you were my favorite interview at RSA. It was so much fun. And we were just talking before we started recording, and I think this is going to be a good one too. How has your Black Hat experience been?
Well, it's been hot. It's been fun. You know, it's. I think this is. I was trying to
not
count.
like Paris Hilton. That's hot.
No, like sweating.
I need to change my shorts again. Hot. Yeah.
I think it's like my 14th year, something like that, of like the Black Hat DEF CON kind of thing, whatever. But you know, it's. I think it's good. It's funny to see. I think there's like people that are at Vistaprint or something redoing their banners. Everything is agentic now. Like it was AI last year, now it's agentic AI something this year. Wondering if people really know what it means when they're asking for it. I would hate to be in the customer's shoes right now, trying to hear the reality. I did a few places. Hey, can you give me a demo? Well, no, but here's what we're gonna. It's I definitely
mostly
feel for.
Just have a chat bot that can tell you what's in our docs.
Yeah. So I mean, there's definitely some good stuff out there, but I think like always, right? You have to kind of sift through it to figure out where there's some really beneficial things that are out in the environment. But.
Yeah, it was a little disconcerting the last several months to see companies just explicitly change their name to something.ai or like somebody earlier in our interview was equating it to the whole crypto and blockchain thing, and all of a sudden everybody was
NFTs were everywhere, and
and so I agree, and especially coming into security from a data science background, I'm happy that we've made agentic AI a thing, because I think it means that people have finally accepted that LLMs are big and expensive and full of trash data from our trash internet, and probably not the best way to solve 99% of problems. So for me, I was always like, we need to understand that there are more models than this very inefficient language model. And I think agentic is great because then you can have regression models and deterministic models and probabilistic models all kind of in their own little space.
Well, and the right one for the right task. So you're not just trying to do this one size fits all. Hey, we give you an AI model that works for everything. We promise. You can select the right one for you.
But who manages that?
Well, I mean, this is part of the new role, right? I think security analysts have always had to kind of constantly shift their roles. So they became sort of security engineers as well, and now potentially, maybe a little bit. I won't say data scientists, but definitely understanding the.
Oh, I have a friend who is probably one of the most talented security engineers I know, who has been moved to dev in an AI project because everything they were releasing had some type of hole or flaw or issue.
Oh my goodness,
Again, being a data scientist who wrote really, really awful, insecure, terrible Python, I identify with the data scientists struggling right now because it's just not their strong suit. So
we definitely threw people without the domain knowledge into a problem, and that's part of it. It's always harder to train somebody on the domain side, which is sort of that Malcolm Gladwell's 10,000 hours of expertise versus the tech side. But I do. I mean,
so is it going to be 10,000 epochs of expertise now?
Yeah, 10,000 tokens of expertise.
Yeah. So for anybody who doesn't know, an epoch is how long it takes you to make it fully through a training data set. So that's. Yeah. It was a really funny joke.
It was a joke.
Really
I should have paused for a laugh. I apologize. We'll hold for applause.
You're making me look bad, Mike.
No, but I think I do fully believe in AI. Like I think like everything else, it's just another tool, right? Like
Python.
I mean, machine learning did a lot to help us, but also it didn't save the world. AI, I think similarly, there's a lot of benefits to it, but I think we see people that are putting way too much. Numerous talks I've heard this past week has been about like, the tier ones will go away, or the people-less SOCs, and I think that's. I don't know, eliminating or trying to automate away what is the most critical part of the process, which is that decision. Like, is this really going to impact the business? What should I do next? I don't know. I don't believe in that at all. I think that we believe AI can help eliminate a lot of the crap work that's in a SOC.
Yeah.
I used to have to spend days like collecting data or
sifting through VPC logs,
or pinging the NOC to be like, can I please get access to this information? Like those kind of things. But I don't think you should remove the analytics that are there, or the analytic power.
Well, and it's not like our adversaries are going to completely replace themselves with AI. They will accelerate what they're doing with AI, but you always need a mischievous kid in the loop to break stuff.
You need somebody passionate about the problem.
Yeah, so you do need AI to combat AI, because that's the only way you're going to achieve the volume and scale of defense you need. But to combat the mischievous kids, you're always going to need another mischievous kid.
Exactly.
That's that's at the end of the day, security is just a whole bunch of kids who don't know how to follow rules.
It is. It's just, it really is sort of just a battle of wits. But I do think the thing I'm actually really excited about for AI, and I'm pretty passionate about, is that I security got relegated to IT early on, right? It was had all this IT mess around it, and that sort of narrowed the people that could be exposed to it, and it got very much samey. Walk around here, very much samey of who is in IT, in security. I do think that what AI can do, it eliminates the techness and the vendorness of what it is, and you can just get really great analytical thinkers into the process. One of the best SOC analysts I ever met was a meteorologist who just kind of understood weather patterns and kind of brought that data science in. I think we can get more of those people and really break the barrier of who can be in the security team, which would be great. That would be, diversify the entire place. But I don't think I think it actually, AI is going to allow us to get more humans involved, not remove humans. I don't think that's a good concept to follow. So.
Yeah, and there's a difference between eliminating tier one analysts and changing the expectations of a tier one analyst.
What does a tier one analyst do?
So maybe you don't have to go gather a whole bunch of data and know 6 different query languages just to start the first step in responding to an incident. Great.
Yeah.
So, those, and there's a great, I think it's a book called Bullshit Jobs, right? And so that's the thing, is that job just becomes a bullshit job because you can automate it away. But that's great, because I think we had talked about this, like burnout is the #1 issue with lower level analysts, because you're sitting in a room 8 to 10 hours a day. It's all of these alerts, they're all marked critical, you can never get through them, and it's just this like...
And there's constantly some new tool coming in that promises to solve it, that you have to learn that as well, and it is. I mean, when I was in the SOC, definitely, I would see people that are just like, I'm so tired of this, I can't, and you're just overwhelmed. So how can you, like I said, do the fun stuff. It is really fun to battle that other mischief kid on the side of the world, but it's not fun to do that part of the job. So.
Yeah, so when I was talking with one of my coworkers about this, I was like, well, do they let you use the backup camera when you take your driver's test?
Yeah.
And he was like, what? And I'm like, well, we have backup cameras now. That doesn't mean that you don't need to back up into a parking space, and they can't eliminate them when you take the driver's test. So it didn't change. It didn't eliminate, the need to be trained how to drive. It's a different expectation for your
things
your
evolve,
skills.
right? The world evolves, and I think sticking a tier one analyst into that role that it's been for decades, it's time to evolve. They won't go away though, right? That's the key piece. And I think it also allows us, when I was in the SOC, and I think it's still a case in many places I go and talk to, they end up really training these vendor experts, right? It's like, oh, here's the endpoint expert, here's the network expert, and what you're doing is really empowering them for their next role or to go to that vendor, right? All they spend their time on is that syntax, that rule sets. But what about learning about the adversaries that target your environment, or are you tracking the most recent threat resources out there? If you take away that mess, they have more time to do that. They can go read threat reports, they can go understand what's happening, and they'll be much better at doing that serendipitous dot connection when they're actually looking at a threat that's in the environment.
Yeah, and I think once we've advanced to a place where MCP is pretty ubiquitous, and we've fine-tuned these tools to, if I'm an analyst, I don't have to turn to the tier 2 or 3 behind me and ask them a question. I can ask my assistant, and that's what we were talking about. Is right now we really need to see these things as kind of like interns, assistants. Like they're an augment, they're a resource, but not necessarily something that can be fully trusted to be outsourced.
Yeah, they're not the managers. They're the
I mean, as you're vice president of product management. So as you're building products, how are you trying to approach messaging so you're not just another person on the hype cycle?
Oh, it's so hard. I mean, the big thing we're focused on is openness and transparency, right? First. So for example, we just did a talk where we showed you can get to the full trace of what it's doing. We actually talked through the steps of we love Agentic because all the times you don't even know that a vendor has released a new API to do a new thing, but it's keeping track for you. So when you say, hey, can I open a ticket and whatever, and it might be a better way to do it, that it will determine for you in that path. That's great. But show me the steps you took, show me why you chose it, embedding citations constantly. So everywhere the assistant talks back to you, citing where it came from so you can validate your work, and also so you can learn more. I think that's a big piece of what we're trying to do. We are not delivering this, secret, you can never inspect it model that no one can know what it does. It's very, in fact, you bring any model you want, it's more about the application around it, and then the traceability, the openness of what it does. And the other big piece is although we have a chat, we think chat's cool, but chat's not the way people operate. Like in the SOC, you didn't go and open a chat to do something. It sort of breaks the workflow. Yeah. And so we look at how we can use Agentic, how we can use these AI agents in processes, right? Can we automatically be helping to prioritize, not eliminate all the alerts because they might be useful, but prioritize ones to say start here, or definitely on things like data onboarding, which always sucks in a SIM, right? Can we say, hey, instead of you thinking about, hey, we built out the pipeline for you, that's the stuff that just wastes time, and putting that into the key workflows. And that's, I think, hopefully we're sifting through the noise that way of saying, definitely security. Bring your own model. We work fully disconnected. We'll work on like anything that's there. We can manage that, and then being open about it. Like here's exactly what we're doing. You can see the steps. We're not trying to say that it's some kind of magic.
The transparency is and that's one of the other reasons that I hated LLMs when that was the big thing a year or two ago. Is that I've heard insanely high-level tech leaders refer to generative AI as a black box. And I die inside when that happens because it's not. And I went on this rant that I posted on LinkedIn a couple weeks ago about how we should stop calling them hallucinations. Because when you say it's a black box that hallucinates, you're insinuating that it made up something that wasn't in the training data and spit it out. And that is not the case. It's just that LLMs were trained on really trashy data from the internet.
Right.
And we were talking about Stack Overflow before we started recording. When I read an answer on Stack Overflow or Reddit, GitHub, I go look at that person's other answers and other contributions, and I assess the quality of that answer. And will we get to a point where maybe AI can do that? Possibly, but these LLMs don't know the difference between satire, sarcasm, stupidity, intentional misinformation, well poisoning. Like, there's just so little about LLMs that I think people understand.
They don't make you brought up, they're not inventing things. They're just regurgitating in a more summarized way the information they're fed, right? And that is why another part that we believe firmly in is that although you can train a model if you want to, it's so expensive. We really believe in RAG, retrieval augmented generation, of bringing that kind of context in, because what you do is you say, hey, first look at my context because I know this, I know this is accurate, and then kind of look at what the rest of the general information is and give me that too, but then cite both, right? Tell me where you got which answer from. So
RAG with guardrails is great.
Exactly.
Just RAG in general, where you're like, Google this for me, and then and the problem is because it translates it back into a language that's supposed to be as believable as possible, because like the discriminator of the generative AI model is like, I'm 95% sure that's right. And it sounds so accurate and believable that unless you actually go to the sources and read them and understand, it said this, it mischaracterized this in a very believable way. I think Agentic is definitely kind of the way we need to move for that. What's your advice for your customers when you talk to them, because I assume you have a lot of customer feedback loops as you're building product. So what's your advice right now for them in terms of what they should be investing in and where they should be looking?
There's sort of two camps, right? So the first question we typically get is sort of the people who are a bit fearful of AI, and like you're saying, they're skeptical about what to do. And the first thing we say is you need to find a way to embrace it in your organization, because if you don't, you're just going to create this shadow AI world, right? Where everyone's going to be pulling out their phones and it's...
Well, I cite that all the time. I'm like, you have no way to monitor data exfiltration that's somebody looking at their laptop and typing into their iPad. Like, you can't monitor that.
Yeah, and like you were saying earlier, because these tools exist, why shouldn't we encourage people that are using coding help or other areas? Like my son's in school, and even they're not supposed to, using AI to help with homework. Why not? That's the future. Why won't we teach them how to do that? Let's teach them how to do it the right way, with guardrails, cite it. I mean, this is when Wikipedia, don't ever cite Wikipedia years ago, right? You had to know to look at the data, to verify, to validate.
Yeah, because the Encyclopedia Britannicas from 1982 in my hallway
were
way
by
more...
two people and never looked at it again.
They were way more accurate than Wikipedia.
Yeah, it hasn't been updated in 45 years. And I think, to me, that's the first question. And I tell them, look, if you put a policy in place that says don't use it, they're going to use it. Find a way to embrace it, but embrace it in a way where it's easy, like you said, with guardrails. That's sort of step one. And usually that's like finding a tentative version they can operationalize for their team members and things like that. And I think it's very successful because it helps in so many areas.
Or safe sandbox environments.
Yeah, exactly. Just be safe, but you have to implement something. And then I think in security, it's just get through the hype pretty quickly, right? Like don't believe that it's going to be the silver bullet or whatever analogy you want to put to it, but it can do really helpful things, right? But I think the core thing there is whoever you're looking at, whatever vendor you choose, can they show you the work, right? Like I think no matter what it is, same thing with machine learning. It was when I used to work with companies to say, the model's proprietary, we can't show it to you or explain it to you. I'm not going to trust it, right? Just tell me what it does and how, and then let me try it out, right? I think that's the key thing. Transparency on the one side, and then you have to embrace it because it's being embraced, like you said, one, by the adversary, and two, they'll just do it themselves. They'll just go around. So.
Well, that's fantastic advice. Mike, thank you so much for coming back.
Well, I always have a great time here. Thanks for talking to me and talking about all the fun stuff at Black Hat.
I always enjoy a good rant before lunch.
Yeah, why not?
All right.
All right.
All right, stay tuned, everybody. We'll be back at the Mandalay Bay for Black Hat 2025 in beautiful, sweaty, hot Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm Jackie McGuire. Be right back.